Welcome you guys, I'm Molly with Design Loves Detail, and today we are talking about my top 5 tips for styling and staging your home when you're going to sell, or maybe you're taking photos, or you just want a little more zen in your life and in your space. Stay tuned for more. So first up is declutter and or simplify. Sometimes we think that means you can't have anything in your house when you go to style to sell it, but that isn't the case. You can definitely have stuff in your home, you just don't want it to be too eclectic and too much of it. So in this case, you could see this is an example where we have quite a bit of stuff on the shelves, and yet it still feels a little bit airy and breathable because a lot of the items are similar colors, shapes, and really balanced too. When you are going to look at shelves, for instance, you want to kind of be thinking, where does my eye go? Does it feel overwhelmed by that? And when you have items that are like similar, in this case, we've got kind of a lot of pottery pieces, some books, it doesn't feel overwhelming, but it does hopefully showcase that there's a lot of space available to use. And that's definitely a plus. What happens sometimes is when we live in our homes for a while, we collect things and we almost don't even notice kind of where they pile up or accumulate. And so when I say declutter, that's really what I mean, kind of walking through your home and seeing what stuff you really don't need. It's a great opportunity to donate some stuff, have a yard sale, just throw things away if they're just not functional or needed anymore. It's a really good reason to do that, and it helps your home when it's seen by outside eyes to be viewed more welcoming. That's definitely what we want to create. So if you have a friend, everybody has one of those honest friends that tells you what they think even when you don't ask for it. That's who you want to walk through your house with you. Just bring them in, prepare yourself, because sometimes we get emotionally attached to our stuff and it's a bad place to be. So detach a little, bring that friend in and walk through your whole house, and they can hopefully tell you like, that's hideous, there's too much stuff right here, whatever it may be, to where you can kind of have an outside perspective, because we do lose sight of that a lot of times in our own homes. And when you go to sell, you really are wanting to, appeal to the most possible buyers out there. All right, so my second tip for getting your home staged to sell or in general is to think of lifestyle and kind of the whole sensory experience. This is kind of an example of what I've done here in this flip home. On the countertop, we have some bread that's, freshly baked, some, fresh, what are artichokes? Are they a vegetable or a fruit? I don't know, some type of fresh grown item. And and then a little bit of greenery. Of course, this is faux, but that's great for when you're, especially if you're going to sell, because hopefully it's a quick sell, but you don't want to have anything live that can die if you're not there. If your house is being shown and stuff all the time, it's kind of hard to maintain. So I definitely think faux greenery is a good way to go to still bring the organic nature with the lower maintenance. But the bread, the whole reason that I do stuff like this is because, and maybe you don't leave a knife out, that was really for a picture, but stuff like the bread out on the counter, it really is creating almost like a memory that hasn't happened yet for your buyers, or they're seeing something that they can picture happening in that space. You really want to build that for them in simple ways like this, because then it becomes more of a space that they can picture themselves in, and that's really what we want at the end of the day. And sometimes these things, we almost play on emotions. The whole sensory experience, what you smell and see and taste, it really does factor into our experience as humans in general. So having it in the home kind of laid out for them can play on the emotions. In regard to how your house smells, which is definitely something to think about, some realtors recommend lighting a candle. I don't love that just because of the liability of having a random candle burning, and also sometimes I feel like it can seem like you're trying to cover up a smell. I'm more into like eliminating the smell. So maybe if you have pets, they need to go stay at grandma's or something temporarily, use some Febreze, get it smelling fresh. Again, bring the honest friend in, assess, do you smell anything weird? Hopefully they'll tell you, because definitely we want to create a lifestyle and sensory experience throughout the home. Another example of kind of building that lifestyle is in the bathroom spaces. This whole spa-like vibe that I've talked about before, a little tray with soaps. It just feels like you're at a hotel or somewhere fancy where you're going to be pampered, and we want to have that part of the lifestyle built into the vision as well. All right, tip number 3, make it feel inviting but not occupied. I know that one's tricky because we do live in our homes, but when you're going to sell, make it a priority to really kind of take away the stuff that is maybe just really personal to you. So the family photos, you know, you hear this all the time on HGTV, but they're not wrong. Those pictures on the wall can definitely kind of feel a little awkward, like you're in somebody's house. You almost don't want them to be thinking that they're in someone else's house, because the whole time we want them visualizing and imagining it as their own home. So we want to pull that more personal stuff, put it away in a box in the garage, label that for the next house, but definitely go more neutral. I put up a lot of mirrors because, you know, if you pull down the big family photo, just put a mirror up there. Good, it opens up the space and, you know, gives you that inviting feel without the occupied feel. Definitely important factor when you're going to stage and style your home to sell. Number 4, this one is showcase your space, not your stuff. So kind of along the lines of what we've been talking about. Sometimes people have things in their bedroom, for instance, like a treadmill or other things that you might, you know, functionally use, but that really hinder people from focusing on the space. We want them to take in how much space there is, not just like your treadmill. So definitely be thinking of that as you go through the space too. What can I pull out that maybe isn't necessary and might hinder somebody from taking in the great amount of space that is here? Sometimes even things like this room used to have a wallpaper border, if you guys remember, and I really do think that that made the room feel smaller, but partly because that's what you focused on. When we got that down and we got the room painted and all the new furniture, and I was like, this space is way bigger than I thought. So definitely those things that are distractions like that become what you're showcasing instead of the space, and we definitely don't want that. All right, here's the last tip. This is to get the honeydews done, because any little thing that is left, for instance, this is kind of a good example. It seems way bigger in the minds of a buyer. So this window here is one that we are going to replace. We're just waiting for the glass. It should be here in a couple days. But you can see how this has gotten kind of I don't know if it's hard water or whatever, but I think it's essentially on the inside of between the two glass panels, and so it didn't seem like it was cleaning up. And although some people may not notice that, it still feels like something like, oh, I'm gonna need to do something about that window. We want them to walk through the house and not be noticing anything like that. Even things like scuffs on the wall, get those magic erasers and get those cleaned up. I usually try to, if we're selling a home, take a couple days to just clean things up. Touch up paint, bust out that can in the garage, most people have one, and just get all the places that look like they could be touched up and look better, because all those things being done is something that's doable. And I mean, depending, right? I don't know how many honeydews you have, but usually you can make a big impact with a couple days. And then the little marks and scuffs and little things that just kind of might make the buyer feel like the house is aged. We want them to not be thinking of any of that stuff when they walk through your house. All right, so those are the tips that I have for you when you are going to sell your home. Definitely, I think these have played a major role in us being able to sell our homes, our past homes, for top dollar. And we hope to, again, with this flip house. We will keep you posted. We've got the numbers, you know, coming up, so that will be exciting. Be sure to subscribe and hit the bell to be notified of future videos. Give us a like and a comment below, and check out the product links and other videos. This one, we didn't really link anything just because we're sharing the tips, but typically in all of the room tours, I've got links for you in the product or in the video description. And then also you can find me at Design Loves Detail for more design tips. It's just at Design Loves Detail, and our website is designlovesdetail.com, where you can sign up for our newsletter as well. We'll see you next time.